G'day guys, welcome back to SuperCoach with DR and welcome to the round 3 stock market video where I'll discuss all the relevant SuperCoach players' break-evens. I won't go through each player because that will take me now, but I'll just highlight some of the players that I think we should be keeping a little bit of an eye on for one reason or another. Look at those players who we may be looking to trade in. As I said, those players to keep on the watch list, and also those players that we may be looking to trade out of their side, either due to a really high break-even or possibly an injury or a dip in form. So let's have a look at the defenders. P is obviously the price, A is the average, BE is a break-even. If the break-even is highlighted in green, that means it is below their season average. If it's highlighted in red, that means it's above their season average. If you see a set of binoculars, that's just a player that I've got my eye on and someone that's on my watch list, as I said, for one reason or another. And in the coming videos, I've sort of rushed to get this one done, but I will add some little icons. For example, maybe a pod icon next to a player that's got low ownership for anyone that's looking to bring one of those types of players into the side. So at the top, we've got James Sicily, a break-even of 63. He's lost a little bit of money, but he'll be making that money back pretty soon, you'd think. Nick Haynes, Jono, I think this may have been your pod that you were talking about in my last video down there in the comments section, mate. I don't mind him. Break even of 83. A player that I've never really looked at in a SuperCoach perspective, but a really solid player for GWS and certainly a pod there as well. The Seagull, I'll certainly look to hopefully bring him into the side at some stage, but I'll hopefully be looking to bring him in at about 550. And that's hoping. We never know what's going to happen with the prices there. Zach Williams, he's the one who I've got the binoculars on because he's only averaging a lowly 69 at the moment, a massive break even there at 158. He'll definitely be dropping in price. We all know about his talent, and I think that he'll be a really good buy in the next couple of weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. But we need to see some solid form before we bring him in. Don't just bring him in just for the sake of it because he's at a low price. We do need to see some sort of positive form before we bring him in. On to the mid prices. So we've got Ridley at the top there with a break even of 9. This would be the week to bring him in if Essendon's playing. I think that they are. I'm not 100% on the news there. But yeah, if you're going to bring him in, this is certainly the week, I think. Crisp is an interesting one there at 53. So he had a really good game on the weekend. It's hard to tell with those Collingwood defenders, all the bleached blonde hair. But yeah, if you're going to bring him in, this is probably the week to do that with his low break even of 53. Adam Sard, I've got the binoculars on. If Essendon's going to be getting double points somehow, break even of 54, average of 105. I love watching him, really exciting player. He's never been a really solid SuperCoach option, but this is a different year, so I've got him on my watch list. If you haven't got Doherty, please get him in. 64 break even, 111. He's locked for a top 6 defender if he stays on the park. Rory Laird, yeah, looking at him, but not at this stage. We need to see some form from Adelaide, and I'd like to be seeing more 90 to 100 scores rather than, those 70s to 85s. But had a good game on the weekend, and hopefully that's a positive sign for him. Dan Houston, he needs to get out of my side quickly. That break-even of 119, I think, is just going to keep going up, and I've got no confidence in this pick whatsoever. Get rid of him would be my advice. Onto the defenders that are below 300k. We've got Stars there with a break-even of a negative 56. You're lucky if you haven't got Rivers yet because you've got an extra chance, another week to get him in. So get him in this week, I think, if you haven't got him in. Williamson played his first game last week for a score of 53, break even of 4. You could look to get him in possibly for a Zerk Thatcher, but you are paying a little bit more than, that 117 to 123. I would not be looking at Young or Ash. I do have Ash's break even in a red there. It isn't actually below his average, but I just highlighted that just to show that, I'm really against this buy and certainly don't look to bring him in this week. Noble didn't, or at this stage, the way he's scoring won't make as much money, unfortunately, as I thought that he would. But he's playing, he's on the field, so we can't complain too much with that pick, I suppose. On to the midfielders, so the big boys here. Merritt at the top there, 71, so that's a really interesting one. Do we jump on these Essendon and Melbourne players? Do we jump on them yet? We don't know exactly what's going to happen, but yeah, I think some people may be looking to make that move, maybe for Josh Dunkley this week. Fife is the one I like to bring in for Josh Dunkley, averaging 140 there, a break even of 76, so this is a week to definitely bring him in, and he'd be probably my number one selection if I had Dunkley. I did have Dunkley. I ended up bringing Danger in for him a couple of weeks ago, which, as you know, I really regret. So Fife is a good selection, low break even, bring him in this week for Dunkley, I think, would be a really good move. Neil's still got a break even of 84 there, so I suppose you could bring him in, but I'd be loath to bring him in at 737. He's bound to have a dip in form at some stage, but I suppose you are missing out on some massive scores there at the moment. Gaff's a nice pod that people are looking at the moment. I've got the binoculars on Clary there. Again, he plays for Melbourne. That's why I've got the binoculars on him, to be quite honest. I did have him, trade him out for Viney, who's another Melbourne player. Now, Tim Kelly, I've got the binoculars on. I have not liked anything that I've seen from him so far, but with a really high break even, given the fact that he's going to be dropping in price, he will be going back to Perth in another couple of weeks. He could be someone that we could jump on because none of the West Coast players really seem happy. It started from the coach down, I think, as a dog starts to bark there in the background. But yeah, he's on my watch list. Not at this stage, but in a few weeks, let's just see if he gets his form back. He's happier back in WA, and he may be a really cheap pick because we can't afford to be spending, high sixes to 700k on premium players this year. We just can't afford to do it, I don't think. The other players there, I've got the binoculars on that are on my watch list are Titch and Josh Kelly. Certainly not at this stage, but we know that they're absolute quality, elite players, so I'll be keeping a close eye on them and tracking their progress in the next couple of weeks. On to the mid prices. Well, look at the guy at the top there, Keeper Real, 387,000, an average of 131 and a break even of -90. This guy is the king. He's an absolute beast. You got Viney, McGrath, Walsh, and Hanbury, but I wouldn't really be looking to bring any of those other guys in. But McGrath is a really interesting one, depending on what happens with Essendon and Melbourne. And on to the midfielders that are less than 300k. McInerney, Caldwell, Brown, Bennell, Anderson, McHenry, and Pickett. I suppose the main one we need to look at there is probably a Ned McHenry. So a break even of 21, which is a real concern with an average of 26 there. Yeah, don't like him as a rookie pick at all. Look, certainly keep on to him because hopefully, he can at least get to something like a 40 and make you a little bit of money. But it doesn't look like he's going to be a really successful selection at this stage. And on to the rucks, King Pitney up the top there. So a break even of -90, average of 136. Who saw this coming, really? Look, if you haven't got him yet, look at that break even. There's still cash to be made. So it is frustrating that you didn't get him last week, but there certainly is cash to be made there. I forgot, Naismith's break even should be in green, but it's obviously in black there. He actually comes back into the side this week, but Sinclair stays in the side. So how will that affecting? I'm not too sure, but he's got a negative break even. Will certainly make money. Do not trade him out if you're an owner. Don't trade him in, I wouldn't say, if you're not an owner. Darcy Cameron, break even of -17. Does he play this week? I think Coxie probably comes back in. Other guys, probably, Jacobs. We'll talk about him. Well, I'd actually trade him out to a Pitney if you've got Jacobs. That would be the move I'd certainly make this week because I think that he'll be basically at Jacobs' price by the end of this round. I'll always have the binoculars on Maxi because he's the one I want to bring into the side. But if you look at Goldie, they're an average of 150, absolutely killing it. I wrote him off a couple of years ago, but good on you, Goldie. I'm just looking at Max Gawn from now on. I'm not looking at Goldie, but I wouldn't blame anyone for doing it. He's a bit of a pod at the moment, so go for it if you want to, but I'm sticking with Big Maxi. Onto the premium forwards, you got Greenwood there. Looked really good for an average of 109, break even of 76. The two guys I've got the binoculars on there. Dusty's the first one. I've actually got him, but I'm worried that he's going to spend a fair bit of time forward, and that may negatively affect his scores. So he's someone to keep a close eye on. I'm definitely not trading him out. Look, if he doesn't play this week, I still don't think that I will. I'm not too sure, but certainly keep an eye out on his role because that price could go south potentially. And the other big one there is obviously Lockie Whitfield. Look, if you're an owner, what do you do? I don't know because there's merit for trading him. I think there's merit for not trading him, but I've sort of changed my stance a little bit because he's already gone down so much. When I sort of gave more advice to trade him, I was looking at his higher price before he'd actually dropped this week. So, how low will he go? We're not too sure, but It's a tough decision, and I'm glad that I'm not an owner and I can just look to pick him up, hopefully whenever his price bottoms out. And on to the forwards. Geez, look at all the options that we've got here. I've got 3 binoculars there: Simpkin, Petrarca, and Smith. I love Jai Simpkin. I want to get him in this week. I think that I will. I'm hoping to, but we'll have to just wait and see, who's announced when the teams come out. Bewley, break even of 34. I wouldn't be bringing him in now, but he's made a little bit of cash. Not a bad pick there. Petrarca, though, yeah, look, I think lots of people look to bring this bloke in, given the fact that there may be double points on offer. Bailey Smith is the other bloke there, looking really, really good. Now that Dunkley's out, you'd think that he would keep that midfield time there on the inside. So I think he'll continue to rise in price and be a really, really solid pick for the rest of the year. Ben Long down there, 87. I want to get rid of him. A failed pick, a failed trade. What did I expect? Well, I expected him to continue that really attacking role off half-back and at least, be averaging around the 80 mark. But unfortunately, I don't think that that's going to happen, so I need to flick him as soon as possible, I think. Jack Steve, an average of 20. Will he bounce back? Maybe an option. I'm not too sure. Toby Green, 126. Yeah, not too keen on him. Now, I was watching 360. It's not Buderick how I've been pronouncing it. From Connor, the man himself, from the horse's mouth, it's Butterick. So I'll be calling him Butterick from now on. Didn't he play well? Negative break even of 36. But, yeah, Townsend, yeah, disappointing. You'd be hoping if you traded him in earlier that you're making a little bit more money off him. Love Tommy Berry as a player. Don't know about a SuperCoach option, though. Bonner came in. Pickett Taylor. And Sturt's probably the other one there, obviously injured. I know many of us brought him in last week. Some of us started with him, but I'm actually going to use him as a loophole, given the fact that I traded out Comben as my ruck loophole last week in order to get Pitt and A in. So I'll be using him there. Do we trade him? Well, I suppose if another option comes along in the next couple of weeks, maybe, but he's still got a negative break even of negative 24 there, so I'd be holding on to him personally, but we never know what's going to come around the corner. So that's the stock market for this week. Who are you buying? Who are you selling? Who are you trading? Who's on your watch list? That's what I want to know. So down there in the comments section, let me know who you've got your eye on. And if I've forgotten to give anyone's break even, just let me know and I'll pop it down there for you in the comments section below. So hope the team's going well, guys. I've almost worked out my trades. Looks like I'm going to bring in possibly a Richmond defender and a North Melbourne mid forward. And I think you know who that is. So take care, guys. Hope everything's going well. And I'll see you soon in the next one. Cheers. Bye.